How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another Monday live stream. How was your weekend? Mine got me sick. Not sick of doing this job. I'm literally sick. Again, I know. I had COVID 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Time just fly by. And basically got a cold after the fact. So I guess the regular cold still exists. Nothing you can do about that. I got a new toy. Can you guess? Can you guess what it is? Yesterday, somebody asked me for a trade. Usually I don't deal, with the trade market people, like asking me to trade stuff with money and stuff. But I had an old Rode NTK that I was just collecting dust on my shelf. You probably saw it when I did my studio tour. I was showing my stuff around and got rid of most of that stuff, but I'm just getting rid of everything. And I post on the ad for the NTK if somebody want to give me a 7B with extra cash, that I would take it. So an offer came by. I got a $100 Canadian a SM7B for my Rode NTK. Probably a fair deal for me. I don't remember how much I paid for that microphone with a broken basket. Got a little video out of it. I show to people how to repair the basket on it, and somebody offered me the price of the basket plus this microphone. So it's a win-win. Now I'm experimenting with the SM7B, and I must say I'm really happy with it. It's like the perfect mic for me. I believe so, and I want your guys' opinion. But usually on my 846, which was sitting really far away, it's not the same thing as this one. Probably the 846 would do me better. Closer. Sounds good, Patrick. Thank you very much. The 7B, instead of EQing it, I'm just running it flat. Like literally flat. No EQ, not even a low cut. Well, actually, I could use a low cut, but I just put it at like 60 hertz just to get rid of the unwanted noise. I could go 120 just for fun, but it's going to sound a little thin. I don't like that. I like the full fat of the SM7B. But to me, in my headphone, it sounds fine. It sounds better with the low cut, okay? I want your opinion. Do we want the low cut at 120? Do we want the low cut at 160? 160 to me is going to sound thin. A little thin. I think I'm going to go 120. And I'm going to back off just a little bit so you don't get the mic closer to you, put in the same position. Okay, that's the thing. 210, 160, that's what I thought. Okay, let me try something. I didn't try it before. Gonna get myself a little loose on that XLR cable. And I'm gonna try to put it off the screen, but I don't think it's gonna work. Hold on. Okay. Can I do this if I'm doing this? No, it's not gonna cut it. Maybe if I unplug. Nope, I cannot get the XLR in. I cannot get the XLR in at all. And if I put it far away, let's be honest, let's check it out. I'm gonna put the mic far away. Maybe not as far as I want it to be, but if I'm right there, and I'm gonna try not to get the mic in the top camera. Ugh. Okay. Is it in the top camera? No, it's not. I can back it up a little bit. It's not as good sounding. It sounds just really thin, really far, right? No, not a winner. Definitely not a winner for that situation. Oops. We got some locking mechanism problem here. That's giving me trouble. We should start with that. Okay, that's gonna be it for today. Yeah, it's far, but it's not that bad. It sounds really far versus the MC840. 840. 4 and 8. Oh yeah, the 840. It's right. It's an MC840 from Bayer. Yeah, it's not that bad, but I feel the low end is funnier for me. Well, it's I'm having more fun in my ear with the low end. And Pancho said try 100. Let's try 100, but I don't think harmonic-wise is going to suit me really well. I feel like the 60 hertz, just opening up the full mic all the way, it's fun in my ear. You know, it feel like I'm having that big FM voice. But there we go. Let's try 100. We'll start with that. And I will listen to the stream back and see if I like it or not. But I think it's a good starting point. But all that to say, I will have a video review of that coming really soon, because right now in my areas, everybody who in the pandemic start to do a podcast now get rid of these microphones because they are not doing home at work anymore. Some people bought these microphones to do like all sorts of at-home production, and sounds good now? Okay, good. But everybody get rid of those SM7B, and I can get them for dirt cheap. I can get most of them for around $350 Canadian. It's cheaper than the dealer cost. If you guys have a store or are connected to dealers, it's cheaper than the dealer cost, and I'm probably stack a couple of SM7B on my drawer because they are just good. I like them. I like the sound of the 7B. I like it on what I've listened to some YouTube video on bass drum. It would sound awesome. I think I would prefer that over a Beta 52. Not that I need really more microphone, kick mic, but definitely love it. Also heard good stuff about floor tom and toms for drums. So maybe at some point I'm going to end up with 4 of these. If I ever want to do a podcast, if I ever want to record drum again, those are really, really good option, I believe. And since I could get them for cheap, or probably the cheapest they will be in history, I will do that. I will stack on SM7B. And before you guys ask, I do not run anything on the signal chain. No cloud lifter, no FET head. I will probably get a FET head though. The FET head are little condenser, little amplifier that you put in line with your 7B to give it more volume. It's basically an active amplifier in a XLR tube. So I'm probably gonna get a FET head really soon to go with the 7B, but I'm just trying it like that. Could use a little more gain from the preamp. Let's just take a look at the preamp right here. We have gain all the way up, and I'm a little on the weak side. Is that, I cannot see the screen, 24? I'm not reaching out 24, and it's just speaking volume. I could need a little help with that microphone. So maybe something like a 20 dB boost from a FET head will just give me enough so I can bring down the gain a little bit and basically use this at the same volume or less that I'm using in SM58. So we'll see with that. Okay, now, spend a lot of time talking. Do not read the chat a lot. Hi to Stratos. Hi to Patrick. Charlie, welcome. Pancho, welcome. Good to have you around. Thanks for the sound tips and thanks for the EQ tips. Oh man, I never know how to say your name. Mawutor, I'm sorry. Like the radio style effects it gives without EQ. Yeah, actually, this is why people want 7B. Because if you speak really close into it, you are in the world of radio. Those microphones were designed to be radio mic. 377 in Europe and 140 from China. If these are real, nah, no way. $140. Well, if you can get them for 140 euros, even if I translate that to my cheap Canadian dollar, it's still a good deal and too good to be true, I believe. So I'm gonna guess on eBay, if you ever see these go for less than 350 US or 300 US, it's probably a steal. It's probably a scam. It's probably not the real one. So just be aware. Just be aware of fake mic. Okay. What's going on here? Zafar, hi. Welcome to the channel. Manu, welcome. Did I forget anything? Sheldon, hey. On the Wing, which is your favorite compressor for and reverb for drums? Sorry, guys. It's probably going to be a lot of coughing today. Careful, for those of you guys with headphones. I was fine yesterday. I was seriously fine yesterday. I had 2 shows this weekend. Okay, so it's $360 USD on Sweetwater. So the used market for these is probably around 300-ish in the States. I will do some research. And if you guys want to help me with, go with what's your average Craigslist price for these? Because even here, some people try to sell it for 400, 500 Canadian because they are $4.99 brand new, roughly. With the conversion and everything and the taxes, and so they go around for see a few used one under 300 USD. Okay, so maybe you guys in the state have a deal on them, but even for that, I mean, it's still a fair price for what it is versus brand new. You save like $70 with taxes. Definitely worth it, I believe. And if something ever happened, I'm just going to sell them on Reverb at some point. But yeah, I want to stack up on these. I'm going to try to stack on them for roughly less than 350. But I want 4 of those. 4 kick, the toms, and it's probably good on bass amp or guitar. Actually, I saw that on guitar cab. I want to try that on guitar cab. I didn't see how the 7B sound on guitar cab, but it's, it's really pleasing to the ear in the sense of there's definition, but it's not too bright like a SM57. Sometimes I feel like the SM57 is on the brighter side of thing and not always at the spot that I want it to be. It's fine on a snare. It's fine on a snare, but I would not, not on every single guitar amp that the 57 is my first choice. So maybe on brighter guitar amp, this will just tame it down a little bit and make it better. But okay, we were talking about drums. Let's go talk about drums. What are my favorite option on the Wing for the kick, snare, and all my drums? EQ wise, well, that's depend on the microphone. It depends on the source. You cannot really EQ a drum without really hearing it. This is how I EQ that bass drum. I know what the microphone on this EQ is. It's a Bayer Dynamic D71C. It's a condenser mic, and my personal microphone has a little bump around 2K that I feel annoying on most bass drum. So I'm getting rid of it. It's not, it's EQ'd for my microphone. Compressor wise, Ethereal Bliss is not my first choice. I would say the 160, and the way I try to work with it is I don't want the needle to move pretty much at all. I don't want to see the needle goes down on the gain reduction. I just set it so actually I can do it on my voice so I can show you how I do that. No, it's gonna just totally destroy what I got going on here. Okay, sorry, but let me explain. You want the needle to move just a little bit, and hi. Thank you very much. Jerdo. Thank you very much, Jerdo. Hi, Ralph. I heard they have similar capsule to the SM58, just a different enclosure. We can take a look at that after, Ralph. But no, it seems different. It seems closer. The capsule to me seems closer to the Beta 52. And sound-wise, I believe it will be closer to the Beta 52. Okay, but let's finish here on drums. Compressor on drums. Two option. If I want to get something subtle, it's the 160. I just compress a little bit. You don't want the needle to hit the 5. 3-to-1, 2-to-1 ratio, depending on how much you want to compress there, and set the threshold to wherever it needs to be so that the needle just hitting that, and that's it. This is how I usually compress my bass drum. But if somebody is all over the place, try other stuff. If you really want to get stuff under control, no stressor will work fine. You have control of attack and release. Other than that, 1176. I love the 1176. I set it so you set your gain to get around minus 18 of volume, VU meter going on your bass drum. Set your input to wherever it needs to be, but this one you can crush it down. You can have your needle going, 5, 7 dB. It will take it. It won't sound too mushy. And the output level, set that to wherever you need to have your output heard of. Try not to go all the way up. It will just probably distort. You want to try to avoid distortion on drum. Actually, some people love distortion on drum. I just don't. I try to be as natural as possible to the player, and output usually goes between minus 18 and minus wherever you need it to be. If your PA is really loud and you don't want to mix a show really, really loud, maybe you're gonna set your gain structure on your console a little lower, so that way everything is not jam up. Okay, so that's for kick. Snare, well, here I have the drummer. Never really used it a lot. I don't know why it's there. Not my favorite one. The 160 again, one of my favorite options for snare, but this one I try to make it work a little more. I don't let the needle go all the way to minus 5, but if I have to, like on a pop situation, pop drum kit situation, I will do it. If not, well, now it's time for the no stressor. The no stressor, you can compress almost 20 dB without hearing it. Almost. And I will just hit the snare really hard with that. Like, crank the input until you get a lot of gain reduction and adjust the output to have something usable. Sometimes I go like 0.5. I have enough energy at the other end of the compressor to work my mix, and a little bit of reverb on that. But usually my starting point is 160. If I let the drummer do his thing and I don't want to be too much in the way, if you really want to crush it down, no stressor. Okay, reverb wise. Do I have something programmed for the reverb here? Probably not. Hold on. Let me introduce you to the VSS3. This reverb sounds really good and has a lot of preset. I usually, when I set my drums, I try to look for the drum preset. Drum plate stuff usually work fine for me. Experiment with these. You have a lot of preset. Find one that is good for you. Find one that is, maybe overhead mics. It's going to work for you. If not, if the VSS3 is not what you're looking for, try the blue plate. The blue plate to me is one of the best sounding reverb in the console. Out of the gate, the preset that you got on there sound really good. Put that on a bus or put it on, let's say, a snare, and make sure to turn down your effects mix. Start with your snare, blend in some reverb, and you really got something good out of the gate with this thing. Easy to set up, just use the stock preset. After that, you can play around, low cut. You can probably put that to something like 200-ish for a snare. High cut, 7 if you want to have it really bright. You can probably drop that to 2.4, 2 point something, depending on how bright you want your reverb to be. It's a per case scenario. Many people just don't know what they're looking for when they're trying out the EQ. There is no magic number here. It's just, how is your source sounding like? Do you like the sound of the source? Can you fix it at the source? Is your bass drum too long? When you're doing, like a kick, does it poof for a long time? Or it's a tight bass drum? Try to tune the kit to that, and after that, apply some little bit of compression, little bit of reverb, and you should get decent result. But just be aware, try to think about what you want to get as a result before just start turning knobs. Listen to the source. What's going on there? What do you like? What you don't like? EQ, compress, and add reverb to taste after that. But basically, those are just spices on what you're cooking. You need to have good bases to make a good meal. Hope that answered your question. Hope that is helpful for you or somebody else. Let's move on to the chat. Okay. Rolf said the capsule is really, really close to the SM58. Let's take a look at this. Can I have the mic really close to the screen? Yeah, there we go. Can you see through that microphone if I'm changing out the angle? There we go. I've got to try to speak loud because I'll be really far away. The capsule here is really close to the SM series, but I would say it's a different prototype. And the capsule, from what I can see inside, I don't know if I can show it to you from probably that angle. It looks way, way, way closer to what you have. It just doesn't work. Let me bring that back. It's really closer to the Beta 52 capsule when you look at it than anything else. If anybody can post a picture of the capsule of a Beta 52 in the chat, that would be awesome. If not, well, just Google that while you're watching this live stream. The capsule of a Beta 52 has those little hole, but I believe the whole mounting system is what changed a lot of thing in a microphone. If you don't know, the SM58 and SM57 capsule are the same. The Beta 58, the Beta 57, and the Beta 56 capsule are the same. but there's a couple difference in the mounting mechanism of the mic, the amount of hair that you have behind the capsule, and that will change the pattern of the microphone, and that will change also the frequency response. One of the singers that I used to work with, my friend Johnny, we tried out a lot of stuff on his vocal, and we end up with a Beta 57. Actually, there was no Beta 57 available wirelessly. So what we did is two things. We find a good sounding Beta 58A capsule that we put on a wireless mic for him. And after that, we changed the housing, the grill, the metal grill from the Beta 57A to a Beta 57 capsule. Just the surrounding of the capsule. Like if I were to do this, the surrounding of the capsule and the amount of air going around the mic capsule changed enough that we were exactly in the same territory as a Beta 57. So be aware, if you want to change your sound sometime, take a SM58, take the ball, I don't know how to call it, take the capsule off, the grill, not the capsule, the grill off, and try that on guitar. If you don't have any SM57, it's gonna work. It's the same capsule, it's just the surrounding of the microphone. Like if I were to do this, I'm not cupping the mic. I'm just doing like a circle around the capsule with my finger. And just doing this is changing the pattern and changing the overall sound. You know, I sound way more mid-rangey. So it's all a matter of the capsule, where it's sitting, how far it's sitting, and what's surrounding it. It's going to do the difference. So be aware of that. Just experiment with microphone that you have. Take the capsule on, off. Maybe you're going to discover something that maybe you're going to get that new sound. You know, maybe you're going to take a mic that nobody likes, take the capsule off, put a piece of tape on the back to transform it into a more cardioid or more omni microphone, and everybody will love it. Try out some stuff. If you have the chance, try out some stuff. You can be surprised. Mr. Samuel Charlebois. Bonjour. Ça va bien? Let me translate his question for you guys. Do you believe that the transient designer can replace a compressor on a kick and snare? I definitely do. Because the transient designer is from what I understand, and I didn't Google that, it's my bad. You guys send me link and stuff to the real unit from SPL. It's together a compressor and a gate that affect the transient of the signal that you send into it. And yes, definitely it can affect the sound of a line, a signal enough to not need to use a compressor and probably even a gate on a kick or a snare. Yes, definitely. Compressor question from Poncho. Do you use peak or RMS compression or something else? I would say depending on the preset that we have, because let's face it, here on the wing, we have perfect version of all the units available on the market. I'm going to use okay, I have a duplicate of my voice. Okay, let me change that out. Now I have the no stressor, not doing anything. Let me take a 160 as an example. Hey, 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 hey. Okay. I would need to crank that up a lot to get usable volume out of this. But the 160 is a fixed parameter compressor. Can you guys see the needle? Is it too bright? I hope you guys can see the needle moving. But, sorry. Give me a sec. Basically, What we have here is the perfect design of a 160 compressor from BDX. This compressor is pretty much the same compressing algorithm as the Wing, except that it already come loaded with the preset of the real unit, meaning I don't know if the 160 is a RMS or peak compressor. I'm gonna guess this is an RMS or VCA compressor, so it's gonna react the same, and with the same control on it, it's gonna be a copy or a clone perfectly on paper wise of the 160. So depending on the unit that you're using, to answer your question, Pancho, this is going to change if it's a peak RMS or something else compression that you choose to use on those units. Because let's face it, the Wing compressor that has all the parameters, the threshold, compression, knee, attack, hold, and release, RMS, detector, peak, the detector to be RMS or peak. This is all that you're changing when you're changing the preset of those compressor, or most of them. On the Wing, we have two options. We have the fixed threshold with input gain compressor and the one with variable threshold, and we just lower it down until it compresses. But those are just different presets. So depending on what do you choose, that will change per the preset of compressor that you're using. So depending on the source, sometimes it's RMS, sometimes it's peak. I would say if I'm working with drums, I would go peak. If I'm working with vocal, I believe RMS is a more better way, or closer to what I'm looking for as a result way of compressing. That's going to do it. Depending on the source, that will do it. So if you want to experiment with RMS and peak, use the same thing. Actually, we can do it here. Can I do this? Compression. I'm going to switch to my channel to the one. To this one. Hey, 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 hey. Let me adjust the compressor gain. Hey, 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 hey. Can you guys hear me? Hey, hey, hey. I know it's not as loud, but I cannot crank this one as much. Well, actually, I'm all the way up. But, okay, let's take a listen at this. Hey, 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 hey. I'm going to turn down the music. Hey, 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 hey. And I'm going to turn down the source extractor so it doesn't cut on us. I'm going to do the same flat no EQ. So it's just a roll off around 100. There we go. Roughly the same thing. Compression. Hey, 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 hey. This is RMS. So the peak do change the RMS level a little bit, but it's not grabbing really, really fast on every transient. And attack at 50, I believe, is a little fast. Let's start with something that is closer to 15 millisecond. Hey, hey, hey. That's doing it. Okay. We get a couple dB of compression, 3 to 6 roughly, judging by my eye. And we're going to change that to peak. So when I'm talking, it's grabbing peak a lot faster. Hey, 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 hey. And I'm getting more compression even if I left the threshold at the same point. Because RMS, the way that RMS detector, I understand, work is it takes the average of all the frequency, where peak is going to take the loudest frequency available on the spectrum and going to use that to pull down. And it's going to basically affect the threshold before it affects, before the RMS, which is the average music spec. RMS is, I remember what RMS was. It's music spectrum. Relative music spectrum. I don't know. Okay. Basically, peak is going to grab on the peak of the signal, and RMS will be more average of all the frequencies of the overall. Root mean square. There you go. Root mean square. I thought it was relative music, or maybe I was taught wrong by an old guy that added the word music there to please some people who he was explaining that to. But roots mean square. I would need to translate that. Yeah, it's mathematics, but basically, for our use case, peak is gonna grab on the peak first. It's gonna be more, um, hey. It's gonna be more aggressive. It's gonna cut down faster on smaller part of the signal that will go over the threshold versus RMS, which will be a little smoother for us to use. So it's just experiment with it. It's not gonna be the end of the world. Just experiment with it, and it will. Maybe you will find a better use case for a different scenario. Like again, I prefer to use RMS on vocal, and I prefer to use peak on drums. But maybe if I'm doing, by the way, reacting, I would say an 1176 would be peak and a 160 will be RMS. If you guys in the chat can confirm that to me or not, that would be a good thing. But please do. It's 0.7. Okay. Thank you, Adrian, for that. 0.7 times peak. Okay. Okay. Before I go too far, Gerdo, does your board at the same? Does your board has the same as mine? Dragon input channel on. Oh, hold on. Let me get back to my. Let me get back to my loud voice. And this screen. Does your board the same as mine? Drag an input channel to one of the channel, one of the right channel 4. Try to send signal to your bus. Mine does not do that. Is this an well, okay, I'm not sure to understand what's going on here, Gerardo, because drag an input to one of your 4 fader on the right in the master section. Yeah, I have that. Okay, just for fun. Let's come here, assign, and I'm gonna grab my channel 40, which is my talkback. You guys cannot see it, but it's right there. Actually, you can see a little bit in the bottom. Okay. And try to send signal to your bus. Mine does not do that. Okay, what do you mean? You mean send on fader to one of my bus? I'm gonna select my channel here, and I'm gonna put my coffee somewhere where I don't hit it in my hand. Send on fader. Is that what we're talking about? I'm not sure. Okay. Channel send on. Well, of course, the send on fader is not gonna affect that channel. Well, actually, does it? Just for fun, I'm gonna remove my channel 40 from the surface on the right, on the left side. I mean, right there. It's gone. It's not on my interface anymore. If I select it, no, it does change send on fader. If I select channel 40 and I go send on fader mode, I can send that channel into bus. Absolutely no problem. If I switch back to send on fader into 1, that would do it too. It's an option in setup. Okay. Thank you very much, Andy. Everybody say hi to Andy. Hold on, guys. Thank you very much, Andy. So it's an option. Okay, good. I don't remember talking about it, but thanks for clarifying that. To answer Pancho's question, so if you know what the settings are in any brand comp, you should be able to get the same sound using the wing comp. Yes. Basically, my understanding of the wing compressor is this is how they are designed. It's a reproduction of the way that they react on paper. So VCA compressor reacting one way, everything that can be set up from the compressor, from the wing comp, is adjusted when you select another comp. So yeah, basically. But honestly, you'll be really, really close if you just use, the same RMS versus peak, attack and release. For some of them are automatic. So basically, yeah, really, really close to the result. Actually, to the point where not a lot of people could tell you the difference between the two, and even then, not a lot of people could tell the difference between what compressor was used on a vocal on a track, recorded track. Anyway, yeah, basically. Okay, Adrian got a really good one. How would you compare the preamp on the wing to the Midas M32? I would say the Midas M32 are the DL32 preamp, where on the wing we have the blue preamp from Midas. I did an A/B test myself with my DLT51. I did not record it, but I did an A/B test myself, and it's really, really, really close to what we have on the blue box. Enough that those are not designed by Midas preamp from the manual or the few information that we have on the website. Those are Midas design, or Midas preamp, not Midas design, I should say. Stratos. No, he means the knob on top. Not really sure that you're talking about the right thing here. I'm not sure to understand. The knobs on top? Of course. Actually. There's no send on fader option or bus send on the top, right? Okay. Okay, now I understand what you're talking about, Stratos. The F keys on the top. Yes. Patrick got a comment about that. Yes, the F keys are... I never remember what the F key, the good definition for the F key are. But they reflect the custom control section 1 through 3. I don't want to say confusing information, so please go take a look at my other live stream. Patrick got a full list of the right information about the F keys on the comment of that video, the one from November 7th. So please go take a look at that. Open up another window and go take a look at that if you want to have the right information about the F keys, the F1, 2, 3 option on the right section. But honestly, I'm never using these. They are totally 100% useless to me. Hold on. If you assign an input on the last fourth fader, the knob on the top after you select it become a send to the bus. What? Hold on. I'm not sure to understand what you guys talking about here. Like, it's unclear to me. If you assign an input to the last four fader, we did that. The knob on top after you select it. Does it not become the send to the bus? No, it's not on my console. I have gain, gate, input, filter. Is it sent to bus 1? Is that accurate? Okay, hold on. Not working on my... Sorry. No, not actually. It displays send. Sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's mixing up with my custom control here. So, no, not in my case. Mine is not doing that either, but it's probably an option that I did not have checked out. But my other question is, why would you do that? It's confusing. It's a confusing way to work for me. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm sick. I would need a few seconds of break here. I need to sneeze. I need to empty out my cold. I'll be back in a second. Please don't move. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's the joy of doing live stream when you're sick. Adrian, do you have any experience working with Soundcraft console? So if so, how would you compare the sound and workflow to the Behringer and Midas? That's 3 questions in 1. Yes, I've worked with Soundcraft console, VI 3, the 3000 in SI. Is it the SI Compact and the Compact 2? I think it's the SI Compact 2, which was the worst console Soundcraft ever did. Those consoles were breaking a lot. I used to do monitor on these console. VI 3000. Good console. Liked it. Really liked the sound of the preamp. Didn't really like the EQ though. How would you compare the sound and workflow to the Behringer Midas? It's totally different thing. The Soundcraft console that I've used were good sounding, really clean. Soundcraft is known for that, clean and EQ, but the thing is, I needed to do a lot of EQ to really hear it, and because they were linear EQ curve on every single channel, usually I'm used to hear the phasing, the phase shift on the EQ, and it's part of the way that I EQ. It was not there on the console, on the Soundcraft, and it threw me off at first. So to really hear it, I needed to turn down 9 dB on the EQ versus the X32, where you hear the phase shifting right away. It doesn't react the same, even 3 dB. It's not the cut that is really heard. It's everything else surrounding the cut that is really heard. My perception of using it. The Midas Pro series goes a little in between. Different preamp. The blue box, the DL251 box, have a sound. It has the Midas preamp. It's fat. It's not as precise or clean as you would get on the Soundcraft. But to me, it's more of a rock and roll, live music, band sound. This is what I like. Both are good. It's just a matter of what you prefer. If you want to have, if I was to do a orchestra, violin, stuff like that, instrument that has their own color and you don't want the color at all, I would take something like the Soundcraft, a Digico. These two options would do it. If I'm doing a rock band, give me the Midas. Any day of the week, give me the Midas. But if I were to say go more classical approach, yeah, it's it's using the right tool for the result that you want. A Midas Pro console, I'm gonna include the HD96 even if I never really mix a show on it. From what I heard, it's in the same lineage as the Pro Series. I've done my fair share of work on the Pro Series, so I can assure you that these have powerful rock sound versus the more cleaner option like the Digico or the Soundcraft. I would put the Soundcraft closer to the Digico overall. Workflow wise, I would also put the Soundcraft closer to the Digico in the sense of okay, no, let me retract that. The Digico is one of those first console that came out with nothing on it. Like when you start up a Wing, there's nothing on it. You need to program it. You need to patch stuff. You need to assign input and outputs to your stage box. A little bit like the Midas, where the Soundcraft, they have physical input in the back, or the one that I've tried have physical input in the back. Their routing is already there, like you would find on an X32, but quality-wise and price-wise, yeah, Soundcraft is a big upgrade versus the X32. Versus the Wing, it's debatable. I think I will choose the Wing just because I can have the Midas preamp on it. I can run a DL251 just for that, but workflow-wise, I would say it's easier on the Soundcraft a little bit because everything is pretty much there by default, meaning that if you select an input, you have visually in front of you an EQ, a low cut, a compressor. It's right there. You don't need to assign them. You don't need to turn them on. You don't have any EQ compression gate option. And you have also the lexicon reverb and effect into it. So it really comes down to what are you doing and what is the result that you want. If you want something really clean, which I'm not a fan of, I prefer the Midas sound. If you want something really clean, Soundcraft is a really good, I can't believe I'm saying N3 level console. Cheaper option than a Digico or a Pro 2. Actually, Pro 2, a Pro 2, Pro 3, 6, 9X is probably in the same, well, the lower input count one are in the same range as the Soundcraft. But I would, it's a matter of taste. What is the result that you want to have? This is what I've been saying this whole live stream. What is the result that you have? Think about the result that you want to have. And if you have the option to choose between a VI 3000 and a Pro 2, well, there's a difference in sound. Which one do you prefer? For rock band, I prefer the Midas. If I was to do orchestral stuff, I would take the Soundcraft or a Digico. It's up to you at that point. Andy, for me it's clear the Midas preamp, especially the Pro preamp, are far much better than the Soundcraft. But don't say better. Describe why. The response and frequencies of those preamp, the color that they add to the sound is different. It's going to be fatter. You can distort the preamp and it will forgive where the Soundcraft won't. You know, because better is... Yeah, better in live rock music. There we go. So Stratos, it's a quick way to send input to specific bus without pressing send on fader and changing layer on the left. So your surface, you just have to set it somewhere. Okay. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work with that. It's and okay, ergo Manu. Using the SI impact once, you will never use a Soundcraft again. It's because of the workflow and the flexibility. The SI impact, or I used to work with the compact, it's limiting in the sense of you have 4 parametric EQ. I think your low EQ become a low cut. 31 band EQ are a pain in the butt to get to because they are only on fader design, which I hate. Sorry for those of you who like the EQ on fader stuff. I don't. Not practical. There's no expander. I'm a fan of using expander on pretty much anything. Actually, I'm even using an expander right now. Oh, no, this one. I'm using an expander right now on my microphone. That's not an option on the SI. So, it's a matter of result. Can you get a band? Can you work out a band with an SI compact? Yeah, definitely. If you only use a few gate compression, not much 31 band EQ except your PA and monitor, maybe. Other than that, yeah, no, not an option for me. Same thing for me with the TF1. I have to use the TF1 from Yamaha at the venue that I'm working most of the time, and I want to get rid of it and get a wing because it doesn't have all the features that I want to have from a console. But can I get away with it? Can I do a conference where I don't use any gate or compression at all? Or maybe a little compression on a podium microphone? Can I do like 3 input with that console? Yeah. When I have band coming in? No. I'm calling... actually, when I have band coming at that venue, I'm asking them to bring their own console or what they want to have. If they want to go CL5, QL5, Midas, Soundcraft, ask me what you want. We're going to rent it and you're going to pay the bill. This is basically how we roll there, because the TF1 is a 16 input. Basically, it's the up-to-date, down-the-line version of the LS916, for those of you who worked with Yamaha in corporate event before. The LS916 was a cool, practical option, small console, rack size, basically like an M32R, but even smaller. But to do like 1 or 2 microphone, it's just fine. Cheers, Chris. I'm not gonna dump coffee on my wing yet. Okay, did I skip Richard comment? I think I did. How do you make the live stream volume level all through? Hold on. I need to grab my phone to read this one. Probably forget what Richard said, and it was sounding interesting to me because I like answering those questions, especially about live stream, because I believe this is something that not a lot of people understand. I'm gonna shut that publicity down. Okay. Let me get back to Richard. How can you make the live stream volume level all through the loud period and the less loud moment of the show? 2 things. Have 2 different mix. And I'm gonna guess here you're talking about something like a church show where online at some point you have only 1 person speaking, and after that you have like a full band blowing off. Do 2 different mix, 1 for your room and 1 for your band, You want to send that one microphone really loud, and you want to send that band not that loud. And after that, on your main out. Oops. Almost spilled coffee on my console, right? Let's take a look at this. I have on my main out a compressor. Compressor, maybe a little aggressive. Compressor on my on the main out, on the mix that I sent to the live stream. I compress my voice a little bit, and I would, if I were to do exactly what you just said, I'm gonna get rid of Santa Fader here. If I were to do exactly that, having one person speaking and after that a band going, I would build my mix to have that one person as loud as the band going to my stream bus. Meaning, vocal really loud, band not that loud going to that, and use a compressor on top of that to keep the level even. And after that, to my stream, to make sure that I don't blow everybody off of their seat and not having distortion, I'm using a precision limiter. And on that precision limiter, I'm going to force it right now. I try to not peak more than 3 dB, and I send out, actually I can send out a little more. I can send out to minus 0.25 dB because the clipping point is at 0 dB or higher. I limit out with the limiter my volume to be sent at 0.25 dB. And I'm going, of course, digital out, USB out of the console into the computer, and this is exactly what you hear. That way I can have one microphone, this one, being as loud as it can be. This is the trick. This is how I do it. I have a video about that if you want to check it out. I think it's called How to Set Up Your Wing for Live Stream or Live Streaming with the Wing. I don't remember. But something that sounds like that. Go check out my channel. I definitely show you how to do like a quick mastering. And yeah, just create a different mix on your console for you to send out really loud level to the internet. That makes sense. But this is the reason why usually we do 2 mix, and one in the room doesn't make sense. Manu, as my experience, Soundcraft is too smooth. You have to push at an extreme anything to get change. This make it very precise, but when you have some surgical stuff, it gives you a headache. Yeah, basically. Yeah, this is a little bit of my feeling. It's not always true, but I feel like I need to push it. I need to crank on these EQ up, down to make it work. Midas has compressor that have kick indirectly and also low reduction, and the sounds stay warm. But when you do the same amount in the Soundcraft, the kick doesn't hit so hard, so it sounds gecko. Yeah, but the thing is with the Midas, if you want to get like really in your face, you can distort the preamp out of the console, and it's not gonna sound like garbage. It's gonna sound like analog distorted preamp. And sometimes I do this. Sometimes for bass drum, like I put it really high, VU level speaking. And if the drummer go crazy like on the kick and he's just hitting it really loud, or floor toms, it's gonna distort, it's gonna compress and distort a little bit. And this is what we were used to hear before the digital stuff came, or before the digital stuff took over. And sometimes I like that, dirty distortion sound on something that is hit with that attitude, like, that punch, that it's fun, it's there. It's a way to interact with your band. But just be careful. You cannot do this on anything. You cannot do that on an X32. Well, not really. You can get away with one or two clip, but you cannot have somebody like clipping the preamp of an X32. It's gonna sound like garbage. So from what I remember, the DL251 has a 21 dB of headroom at the preamp, so you can basically clip plus 21 without having digital distortion. It's preamp distortion before that, and it has 21 dB of headroom. So use that carefully. Now you know the trick, but use that carefully. Otherwise, it's gonna sound like clip digital distortion garbage. Stay away from that. Sorry, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna go that long today. I'm having a hard time with myself. I'm fighting a disease, probably a cold, probably a bad cold. Stratos, you're not gonna make friend here with that. For me, the CL3 is the best mixer I have used amongst Pro 1 to M32, SD10, and now Wing in the family. I'm not a fan of the CL. Because the CL, Soundcraft is really clean. The CL was designed, I believe, for TV. QLCL series from Yamaha, for those of you who don't know. I believe they were designed for TV in the sense of they are really bright. They sound really high definition. It sounds like they have, that higher peak, higher. If I had to describe the color, it's the opposite of a Midas. Since the Midas has like a lot of low end information, it gives you that headroom. The CL is on the other side. It's just like bright. I don't know. Sorry. Yeah, I don't like the EQ. Actually, the console has a color, has a bright sounding color. Chris Greco. Did you guys talk about Maxer and All Pass yet? No, we don't. I saw your email. I just wanted to answer to you. I wanted to take time to answer to you, but we can talk about it on the live stream. If you give me a minute here, I'm just gonna read through those comments and we're gonna check that out. Illuminox, hey, it's been a long time. Where have you been, my friend? In the old analog day, we would maximize audio for FM broadcast by sending through gate, then expander to raise low level. And finally limiter to cap the desired volume. But what would you use a gate on that? A expansion compressor could work because you take the lower stuff, and if it's too low you bring it up, and after that you send it to a compressor, so you take the peak and you bring them down, so you have a really like fat signal. After that you take a limiter, boost that up until you reach the clipping point, and there you go. You can have like stuff being really, really loud. If we're talking about DBLUFS, you can have stuff that is really, really loud. But I don't understand why the gate. Please let us know, Illuminox, you old man. I would say it's okay. I was not there. I started my career in 2005, less than that. I was 15. So, around 2002, 3. And I didn't know, I didn't do any professional work before 2007 when I graduated from school. Before that, I was just mixing band, at the local all-age venue next to my house. I was mostly talking about flexibility and not the sound of it. Ooh, that's a hard one. Most of the show we do are conference and streaming with podium mic, laptop playback, lapel mic, headset, and that's why I like the CL. I do all that stuff, and honestly, I want to get a wing for my venue. I want to get rid of the TF1 and get a wing eventually because no, not mine. Not mine. I prefer the flexibility of the wing to do live stream, Dante, expansion, docking, a lot of docking. Sometimes I do that on microphone with house music. Those of you who don't know, here's a little trick. You can take a microphone. Actually, can I do this? I'm going to try. Okay. I'm going to take my... oh no, I cannot do this on an input on the aux in, but I can probably do it on this one here. Is there a ducker on the wing? There's a ducker. Basically what a ducker is, it's a gate that will cut down on a signal. It's basically the reverse of a gate. So if I have a signal here, hey, every time I go over the threshold, every time I go over this thing here, I can bring the signal down by 60 dB. So the key thing to do here is to use a key filter. Right now, it's the same. I'm going to use, it's a self, but it's because it's a split of my microphone, but I'm going to do it the right way. I'm going to say channel 40. Let's say the channel for 38 that I got right there is my house music. And if somebody want to speak, if somebody want to talk to the crowd, I want the house music to go down because I want to create, the effect of the house music's going down, the people are talking, blah, blah, blah. And once they're done, music come back up. I'm going to use a really long release time of 4 seconds. So if I turn that on, if somebody come and talk to the microphone, it's going to turn down the music by 60 dB. Okay, the music is turned down by 60 dB. After that, if the person stopped talking, and I'm going to use a long hold time, it's going to take 4 seconds for my background music to come down, or to come back up, actually. So somebody want to do an announce, hey, everybody, have a good time. We will talk to you guys in a few minutes, blah, blah, blah. I could be somewhere else doing something else. The music will turn down automatically as soon as people are getting closer to the mic, talking to it, blah, 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 blah. Here is going to drop down the music by 60 dB, so you won't hear it over the person talking, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much for everybody. And the music will come back up. I do not have that on a TF1. I do not have that. I don't know actually if you have that on a CL or QL, but let me know. I believe you don't. So another point, 40 X32 wing ducker. Ducker and expander to me in those corporate events are key stuff that I should use. Also, ducker. While we're at it, I'm using those with crowd mic. You guys know why? When my band is playing, I'm going to use... Can I use the main out on this one? No, I don't think you can. This is something that I should... this is definitely something that I should request. Usually what I do is I create a mix when I'm doing in-ear monitor. Could be a main out, could be a bus that I'm using to trigger the ducker. So if I have my band playing, if I have my not my singer speaking, because usually when the singer only by himself is speaking, he wants to hear the crowd because he's talking to them. But if the band is playing and there's like a lot of noise going on there, you don't want to have all the crowd mic going really loud into people's ear. When you have crowd mic is for you when you play, you stop playing, the crowd is like cheering up. you want to hear them. But as soon as you want to start to play, you want those crowd mic to be turned all the way down. So that way it's tight in your ear. You don't get a lot of room sound. So what I do is I create a ducker, exactly like what I'm doing here. I'm using a bus that do not have the vocal into them. I'm using a mix. Main mix could be a bus or a main mix that I'm creating. And I'm using that as the key source for my crowd microphone. So the band is playing, all good. The microphones are dropped all the way down. The band stopped playing. Right. Crowd is cheering up. Vocalists talk to the crowd, blah, 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 blah. Thank you very much for being here. Next song is starting in. My bus sent out information to the ducker. The ducker cut down on those microphones. I'm using that all the time. You can also do this for your live stream. If you guys have live stream with crowd mic, if you want to hear the people in the crowd cheering up with your bands, could be in a church, could be anywhere. Put your crowd mic on a ducker and create a mix for your ducker. Could be anything but the vocal. Could be, imagine what you need to happen. Think about it. Okay, let's go back to this. Aluminum. The gate was on speaker microphone. Yes. To remove room noise, analog hum. Basically what I'm doing right here. If I select, no, I move my channel 40 over here for you guys. I'm using the source extractor. Source extractor is there just to cut down on the noise, because if I stop the music, can you guys hear the noise? And if I turn the source extractor on, it becomes quiet again. Using that all the time. But I don't like to have a gate because gate is cutting too much. I like the expander because an expander has a ratio to cut down. So when you're talking into it, if it's not loud enough, it's not going to be loud. It won't cut down. Gate feels like you're missing hair. Actually, let's do it again. Let's do it for real. I'm going to use a gate. But can you hear when I'm too close to the threshold point? The gate is not, it's not fun. If I'm using an expander, maybe 4:1 is a lot. But if I'm using an expander, because of the ratio, it's not cutting down. It's just cutting down a little bit on the volume, but it's not like totally cutting out. I can use like a little even smaller ratio. But that way, if I just don't talk loud enough, even if the gate does not open all the way up, I still have signal, so you don't hear it. But this is exactly what I'm doing with the expander here. The source extractor, basically. But it's an expander. It's basically an expander. So yeah, I'm using that all the time on podium microphone. Every time that I stream, you guys hear that. But yeah, it's basically just a way to cut down on the ambient noise. And I suggest everybody to understand how to deal with that. Especially if you are doing bandwidth monitor, make sure that you EQ your stuff before applying a source extractor or an expander of any kind. Make sure that you avoid feedback and everything. But yeah, definitely use that on all your background vocal. It's going to save you a lot of bleeding, a lot of sound bleeding into mic. Yeah, in the old day, you were limited by the tool you had available. So yeah, expander was not an option, right? Plus auto will bad settings will sound bad. Yeah, there we go. Things have evolved a lot in the recent year. Tobias, really good question. The Icarus, I saw that a couple times. It's on the Even Gate. Hey. There we go. Let's take a look at this. Hysteris. How do you say that? How do you pronounce that? Hysteris. Hey. Basically, at 0 becomes an expander. It says right there it has become an expander. But if I'm using hey, I'm gonna put the threshold down a lot. Okay. 0 dB, it's an expander, and I feel it's an expander, even if I go out and I don't speak too loud. You guys can still hear what's going on. As soon as I go 1 dB, I can hear it cutting down. You know, hey. From what I understand, and guys can let me know. From what I understand, it's playing around with the threshold and the way in the curve maybe, but it's going to forgive way more in the sense of if your gate is set a little too high, it's not going to come down as abruptly. And I don't understand exactly how to use it. It play around with the attack. It play around with the amount of stuff going around your threshold. So, it seems like attack and release, and like it plays around the threshold a little bit. So if your signal is not strong enough, it's still going to open, and it's not going to cut down as fast as it can on your signal as if it just wave around the threshold. But I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to refer to you. I'm going to refer to Google here. The Neve Gate, the Even 88 is a Neve Gate copy. Just really good information. Hytersis, I hope you pronounced that right, is the threshold of the hold and release. So it, like I said, if you hover around the threshold point, it will forgive a lot. It's a threshold. Okay, it's the phenom which is the value of the physical property lag behind change in the effect, causing it, for instance, when magnetic induction lag behind the basically, from what I understand, you guys give me some really good information there. But in the real world, this is how much the gate will forgive if it's set too high. Right? Okay. Background music back. Mr. Michael said that can be an input can be set with the input bus. On the key input, I would love to have bus there and main out there, Right now, you only have channel. Is there? No, that's a key filter. Has nothing to do with that. So I will do the request. This is something that I could use on every show. Oh, don't worry, Pancho. Luminox has a lot of experience of beating us up with a lot of things. So it's been around a long time from what I understand. Thank you very much for being here, Luminox. I really appreciate that you spent some time with us. You have very valuable information to share with us. The community here that I'm going to say, I think we started to build a community in the sense of we're all sound engineer or people playing around with the console, and we all have a good time and we all learn from one another. And this is something that I would like to be more present in the sound engineer world. A lot of people, let me degrade here. I know a lot of people who, back in the day, were mixing with literally towel on top of their console, so you cannot see what they were doing EQ wise and gain wise and panning wise and the input that they had. Console with no label on them. The guys just learned everything and they were hidden their EQs. It's a stupid mentality that I see often still happen, and no, I'm not down for that. Share information. Share. Nobody gonna steal your gig. If people boot you out of a gig, it's probably because you have such a bad attitude that no one wants to work with you. It has nothing to do with the way you do sound. Let's be honest. So, share information with other. You're not going to steal my gig. You cannot steal my gig. Or actually, people hiring me because of me, not that much because I'm a good sound guy. Because as soon as you, and I had that conversation with a friend, as soon as you go over the threshold of being good, you're past the threshold of being good, people hire you for who you are and who they spend 20 hours of their day with, or 20 of their waking up hour in their day, and riding in the bus, riding in the van. This is why people are hiring musician, sound engineer, because they're a nice guy that they want to hang with and they're good enough to do their job. Not the other way around. Nobody is big enough or mixing that good that they can have a bad attitude and still get job. Not in 2022. Maybe it was the case 20 years ago, but no. Luminox, there we go. I promise I won't steal your gigs. I'm moving to Shanghai for work in January. There we go. Luminox is probably 10 times better sound engineer than I am, but you cannot steal my gig because he will be based in Shanghai. And all my gigs are happening in mostly Quebec, Canada. So I don't think he will fly every week to come here, do 3 shows and go back home. So have that in mind. Share with other, and one day I promise you, it will be a payback in the sense of I give out good information and treated people with respect and good attitude for a long time. And now when I need kids, guys that are in their early 20, when I need them to replace me somewhere because I'm too busy with too many projects, I know I can trust them because they build on what I told them, and they respect me and I respect them, and they gonna go do the job that I cannot do that day. They're not gonna try to steal it from me because I know I will give them other jobs, and I believe they will do a good job because I teach them tricks of the trade that I've learned over time, and they apply that to their everyday work. And they are a good sound engineer, and they help me in the sense of they can replace me on 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 contracts a year. They can work on their end, I can work on my end, and everybody's happy in the best of the world. and the best of both world, and the best of. So there you go. Spread out information. Good one. Help one another. Basically what I'm saying. Okay. Hytersis is a Greek word meaning lack of something. Okay. Thank you for that valuable information, Stratos. Sorry, I just want to make sure I didn't. The hydersis is a window from Jerdo. Thank you very much. So yeah, basically, I was not that that off. It's a window, so it gives you wiggle room on each side of the threshold to play around with your gate. Thank you very much. He's serious. Screw that. I'm gonna ask Google after the show, guys. Okay, speaking of, we've been going for an hour and a half. I'm feeling sick. I literally feel sick. I'm having cold. I'm feeling really cold and really hot at the same time. I'm probably my body temperature is probably raising because I'm feeling really cold, but I'm also feeling like I'm gonna sweat. So I believe I'm sick. I believe I will go to bed this afternoon, and I also have another lesson. Okay. Shameless plug here. First, before we go, everybody who was here tonight. I need to go to lay down. I need to go lay down for sure. Everybody who was here with us, give this video a like. Everybody in the chat who speak here is subscribed to the channel. Please subscribe. Ring the bell so you know when we're going live. I'm going live every Monday at 1:30. If you don't want to miss it, ring the bell. It will give you a notification on your phone, on your Google. If you're using Chrome, it will notify you when I go live. If you want to support me in what I do like Chris and become a member of the channel. If you want to support me a little more, become a member of the channel, super member of the channel. That way you have access to not a lot of behind the scenes stuff because I struggle to release video, I'll be honest, but it gives you 1 hour of free time per month with me. You can call me. We set up a meeting. You cannot just call me. We set up a meeting, 1 hour per month that is included with your super membership. And we can talk about whatever. We can talk about the weather if you want to, but I'd rather talk about the console. We can debug you, help you figure out stuff. We can have a good time together, 1 hour per month. If you are a super member, it's free. If not, I know some people don't want to become a member or don't want to give money to YouTube. You can send me an email. I'm asking $25 USD an hour for a consultation. We can talk about, again, anything, but if I'd rather, you should see a psychologist if you need help with that. I'm just good with sound console, but if you really want to talk to me and you want to pay me $25 an hour, I'm fine with that. But let's talk about sound as much as possible here. Seriously, it's there. It's an option if you need help with your console, with your setup. I'm more than glad to help you guys. I'm just putting the money barrier just so I do not do this like 24/7 for free. Thank you, Neve, one of my longest super member. Thank you very much from Canada. Okay, now I'm officially sick. I feel worse from the last 3 minutes, so time for me to go lay down until the next one. I'm gonna go take care of myself. I want you to go take care of yourself. Have a wonderful time mixing, using your wing, doing live sound. And I'm gonna try my button here that is probably not working because I don't believe I fixed it. But I'm gonna send you guys home with this one. Have a good one. See you all next week. My button's not working. I'll go fix that. See you guys. I need to send you out manually. See you guys. Have a good one.